Yeah, you know what time it is. Let's go! Yo, banging on the beat, breaking the concrete, defeating demons on a daily basis, glowing radiance, raising the consciousness to the most high status, lumen lyrical brightness, supreme natural intelligence. There's no coincidence that I'm rocking, feeding the knowledge to the masses. That's in youth, always speak the fire of truth, wisdom. Life is about growth or development, so build your light for the tests in life. Never give up, never let up. That's what's up. You know what time it is, so push forward, elevate your mind in the sun and rise.
Yeah, check it, listen, coming through, fire bun. I'm an intellectual to the precise decimals, mathematical root radicals. So we see this, I mean this, the fire of truth. From the sheer might, the fire of truth. Preach, teach, the fire of truth.
Just levitate, levitate, keep your head straight. Just levitate, levitate. Even if the world is so cold, we just levitate, levitate. Set these lies.
You know what time it is once again, my brothers and sisters. This is your powerful brother. Welcome to another live blaze broadcast, brought to you by your powerful brother, your solar sovereign son, the radiant one, supreme natural intelligence, intelligence, intelligenetics. My brothers and sisters, we're going to be continuing the construction build of the bridge science of melanin, the black compound. Great melanin evening. Nice and black outside right now, isn't it? Isn't it perfect to talk about the science of melanin, the black compound, the black substance, black matter, black power, huh? Anyways, my brothers and sisters, let's get to the matter at hand. Let's get the show on the road, and let's continue where we left off. We're going into the first book. We're diving in, digging into the books now. We're going into Dr. Layla Africa's book on his melanin science book. So we're going to be continuing with the information contained within there, so you could upgrade your intelligence as it pertains to the importance of this compound called melanin. Listen to reason and listen to wisdom. Brother Ahmed, I see you. What's poppin'? So let me show my screen and let's get right to it, breaking this down. So we're the next subsection of the melanin science books from Dr. Layla Africa. So as it says here, melanin is organic dark carbon. Hold on a second. One moment. Let me check something. 1 second. Alright, let's continue. Melanin is an organic dark carbon chemical pigment substance. Melanin gives black people iris, a brown color, and gives the dark color to their hair, skin, and substantia nigra of the brain. This is an area of the brain where the cerebrum connects to the pons. Melanin is secreted by the pineal gland, specifically melatonin. Remember, melatonin is one of the regulators of the nighttime cycle, which is responsible for assisting your body in rejuvenation, revitalization, renewing, healing, and relaxing and easing the body. This allows your body to recover at night. Melatonin is the nighttime hormone that is responsible for that. The daytime hormone is serotonin. That's the daylight so you could raise your consciousness. In fact, raise the sharpness, right? It gives you the focus during the day. It gives you the energy and spark and ignition during the day. Serotonin. So the melanin, specifically melatonin, which is a derivative of melanin, that's secreted by the pineal gland, is responsible for the circadian rhythm, your sleep and wake cycles. So let's continue. That's a reminder. So the pineal gland has a pine cone shape. It is reddish in color, and the stem of it is approximately 1/2 inch in length, and the head of it is slightly smaller than a green pea, and the total weight is about 2 grams. The pineal gland consists of nerve cells similar to those in the retina nerve eye. The retina nerve is inside the eyeball and receives light stimulation, which it transmutes to the brain. The pineal gland is found inside a fluid-filled space inside the middle of the brain called the third ventricle, and it is attached inside the ventricle. The pineal stimulates the growth of the nervous systems, cerebrum, thinking brain part called gray matter. Therefore, an understimulated pineal in childhood can decrease thinking ability in adulthood. So, to remind you as well, a person who has an awakened pineal gland or an ignited pineal gland usually has a lot to do with the melanin content. As we discussed in the previous ones, this is part 4 regarding the melanin science. We've already broken down that, on average, paler races tend to have, on average, a more calcified pineal gland, simply because they're lacking melanin. So they can't fully utilize the full potential of the pineal gland because they're lacking melanin. We've already broke down the science regarding that. That's to remind you. So you need, in order to awaken your pineal gland, you got to get more photovoltaic. What does that mean, Nathan? Simple. Photo means light. Voltaic means converting light to volts or currency, or simpler, electromagnetism. How do you convert light into electromagnetism? You got to increase your melanin content. It means you have to get more sunlight. UVB allows you to become more photovoltaic. When you become darker, it allows you to become more photovoltaic, meaning you're able to convert light into electromagnetism. If you're able to more efficiently do this process, you have more energy available to your body. Listen to reason, listen to wisdom. So let's continue. And the more sunlight you could take, that's how you're going to awaken your pineal gland. So the pineal gland stimulates the growth of the nervous system, cerebrum, thinking brain called the gray matter. Therefore, an understimulated pineal in childhood can decrease thinking ability in adulthood. The melanin content of the nerves is the highest in black people. Melanin allows nerve messages to travel fast without resistance, causing superconductivity. Remember the cellular intelligence network I always talked about as it pertains to your immune system. The strength of your cellular intelligence network and the speed that it takes to transfer information, its transmission power, is dependent on melanin content. So you got to be aware of that. Your immune system's potential is based around the melanin content in it. Everybody got melanin, externally and internally. Just some have more than others. When it comes to the internal melanin content, that's a harder thing to determine. Like I said, melanin content within you is going to depend, because melanin can manifest in many different ways. It gives you great intelligence within, right? Genetics. If you have strong traits, strong genetics, that's because there's a lot of melanin content that's operating within your genes. If you're able to express the best genes internally and externally, that's melanin working. Central nervous system melanin. Neural melanin working. You're smart, you're intelligent. That's neural melanin working. You have a strong immune system. Neural melanin. Central nervous system melanin. That's the fundamental core of all of these processes. So as it says here, melanin allows nerve messages. Remember that the nervous system is another sense. It's a part of your sixth sense. That's why you cannot be cutting your hair. You should not be cut off your hair. These are your antennas. Antennas. They play a role. It regulates your body temperature. You're able to send and receive transmissions of information from electromagnetic energy in your environment. It's an antenna. So you're able to pick up on energy in your environment, whether you know it or not. So the melanin content of the nerves is the highest in black people. Melanin allows messages to travel fast without resistance, causing superconductivity. So as you can see, I'm going to remind you again, melanin is a conductor. Melanin is a conductor. If it's a conductor, it could send and receive electromagnetic energy of various different vibrations and frequencies. The darker you are, internally and externally, the more dynamic energies that you could receive, organize, and regulate. The less melanin you have, in most cases, your body cannot regulate and organize those energies, therefore it's going to get damaged in some way, harmed in some way. What happens when white folks, pale folks go in the sun? They get scorched. If they stay too long in the sun, they get scorched. That's one of the manifestations of what happens to a being who lacks melanin. They get harmed because too much information is getting to their cellular intelligence network. Their cellular intelligence network can't handle all the information of the dynamic spectrum that is in electromagnetic waves of the light frequency of the sun. If your body cannot handle and it cannot organize, it cannot regulate that energy, it's going to get hurt. What is the common saying? If you play with fire, you're going to get hurt. So let's continue. Black people have the highest amount of melanin on the upper part of the spinal cord, brainstem, where the lower part of the brain connects to the spinal cord. The melanin concentrates on the brain's locus cerealis in the fourth ventricle and reticular formation, black dots. This causes the brain to store more information and function at a high level. It's funny. It's funny how I'm aligned with what I just said. We didn't even get to this part, and I just told you. Melanin improves the intelligence network, cellular intelligence network. So you got to build your melanin. The function of the body's melanin and the brain's melanin is reduced by steroids. The function of the body's melanin and the brain's melanin is reduced by steroids, cortical adrenals, stimulants, synthetic speeds, cocaine, caffeine, antidepressants, anticholinergetics, and unnatural light. Did you hear this? This is why you suffer, brothers and sisters, black folks especially. You have melanin, clearly have melanin externally, but for some reason it ain't working. It ain't doing what's supposed to because you're not living the proper. You're not living right. And this is some of the reasons why there's a war waged against you. It's telling you right here. The function of the body's melanin and brain's melanin is reduced by steroids, cortical adrenals, stimulants, in other words, your drugs, synthetic speeds, cocaine, caffeine. All these things suppress your melanin's ability, slow it down. Antidepressants, pharmaceutical drugs, in other words. And unnatural light. When you're in unnatural light that doesn't have a full balanced color spectrum like the sun, it's going to damage your melanin and prevent it from working at its highest pinnacle, pinpoint peak pinnacle of its potential. So you got to be careful with the type of lights you receive. This is why I got these blue blockers on my eyes, because the unnatural color temperature coming from the screens are damaging to the hormones in your body, damaging to your organs and your glands. It suppresses your melanin production, your melanin movement, because the balance isn't right. We know that melanin is resilient. However, if you're constantly bombarding yourself with these energies all day, every day, that is not balanced and in tune with Almighty Nature, you're actually going to suppress your melanin's ability to function at its highest kinetic potential. Listen to reason and listen to wisdom.
What? Slow motion this side.
So you need to hear this again. The function of the body's melanin and the brain's melanin is reduced by steroids, cortical adrenals, stimulants, synthetic speeds, cocaine, caffeine, etc., antidepressants, anti-cholinergics, and unnatural light. And what are black people doing all the time? Smoking cannabis, doing drugs, cocaine, doing foolishness, drinking, and they wonder why they're at the bottom. That's by agenda. The shadow powers know what they're doing. That's why they push the drugs in the black community. That's why they push the alcohol, black community, more than any other community, because they know what it does to the melanin. It keeps the melanin ability suppressed. And that's why they act like stupid fools, the masses of them. Not all of them. Some of them are smart enough to realize this and rise above it. But a lot of us act like a damn fool. The pineal helps to regulate the hypothalamus glands, release factors that stimulate the pituitary to secrete follicle stimulating hormone, FSH. Just add on. The fact that melanites or black folks are following a Caucasian culture or lifestyle is the very fact why they're in the dirt. You're supposed to be out in nature, in tune, in that sun, following your culture. Following other people's culture is the reason why you're in the dirt. You need to get outside and stop operating as an indoor culture. Get back to your outdoor culture. You're acting like vampires, running from the sun, having shades on your eyes when you're out in the sun, having a hat, running from the sun. Oh, it's too hot. Oh, it's too hot. It's too bright. You look silly. You really look silly and you look stupid when you say that, especially when you're a melanated person, you're saying that. You should be jumping in joy when you have all that sunlight outside. Your power level should be surging, like Goku and Vegeta fused. You better hear me. You're supposed to be acting like the Superman on the planet, the Superwoman on the planet. But yet you're not. You're operating at the dirt. You're operating at the bottom of the pyramid. The pineal helps to regulate the hypothalamus glands, release factors that stimulate the pituitary to secrete follicle stimulating hormone, FSH, and aids in the luteinizing hormone, LH, SFH, stimulates the ovaries and the movement of sperm, and the LH stimulates eggs and sperm production. Consequently, a black person with an understimulated pineal, or one that uses drugs or eats processed junk food, you got to be careful what you eat. It's not just about physical food. It's all about your senses. Everything you consume is based on your senses as well. So you have to be aware of that. Because the food you consume feeds your cellular intelligence network or your body. So you have to be careful what you put in your body. Whatever you're looking at visually, whatever you're listening to, whatever you're putting in your mouth to eat physically, whatever you're breathing in, that's all going to affect you epigenetically. The environment is going to motivate your evolution or de-evolution. Listen to reason, or listen to reason and listen to wisdom. Sway, what's poppin'? So what do you use for UVA, UVB protection? Because you are lighter skin like myself. I don't use any protection, Sway. Sway. I don't call myself the solar sovereign sun, the radiant one. I've told you. Eat right, live right, and you're going to be able to build melanin. You see me lighter right now because we're just finishing winter season, Sway. I don't have issues in the sun. I can stay in the sun all day. At the peak of summer, I could stay at the sun all day. I don't have issues with going, it's too hot, too bright. I could take the sun all day, Sway. That's why I say I can't stress and emphasize it enough. Eat right. Look at the right things. Listen to the right things. Eat the right things. Breathe in the right things. That's how you're going to get resilience. Don't get caught up in the illusion of, oh, light skin. That's the only reason I'm light skin, because the winter just ended. We're in spring now. It's hot today. Now I'm building the melanin back up. The power's rising back up. Power level rising back up again. Don't complicate this way. If you have issues in the sun because you're not living right, it's simple. Eat fresh food, fruits and veggies, especially during this time of spring, summer. You should be eating a lot of fruits to build your melanin. A lot of fruits that are a lot of dynamic fruits throughout the color spectrum of the rainbow. This is the time to be eating up your fruits. More than your veggies. Fruits, you should be eating more right now. Because this is the season where fruits are beginning to come in. This is the season. So you should be eating more fruits. Build your melanin, especially the darker fruits. You should be focusing on the darker fruits to build your melanin. To nourish your body. Eat foods that are fresh. Eat foods that are nourishing and nutritious. Make sure you're in the elements. Earth, wind, fire, water as much as you can. Make sure you're calibrating and make sure you're tuning your body during this time of the spring when the sun isn't as intense right now. Because if you don't calibrate and tune your body and prepare your body right now during the spring, when summer comes, you're going to get scorched, Sway. That goes for white folks too. White folks get scorched very easily because they don't calibrate and tune themselves during this initial stage of the spring. You're supposed to be getting outside as much as you can during the spring. For people who have a hard time in the sun, you should be starting right now, building up your tolerance right now. While the UVB is not extreme right now, you should be building it up right now. That's the key to becoming more resilient in the sun. You got to start now. You got to be outside as much as you can, getting the sunrise, the grand rising of the sun. You got to get that light frequency. You got to get that light frequency when the sun is rising. You got to get the frequency, the full dynamic frequency of the day, of the peak of 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. And you got to get the evening light. And you got to do this consistently during spring. And then when summer comes, you're not going to get burnt. You're going to have a greater tolerance in the sun. It's that simple. For paler folks, you got to do that. If you want to be able to spend more time in the sun without protection, you got to calibrate, tune your body right now during the early spring. And allow your body to gradually get attuned and adapted to the temperature changes as it increases, as the UVB radiation, UVC comes in, depending where you are in the world, as it increases, you got to be outside the earliest before that. What is the common saying? When a frog is in boiling water, it's going to jump out immediately because it's getting burnt. But when the temperature's slowly going up, you're going to get used to it. You're going to be already getting used to it. But if you just go outside in the peak of summer, you're going to get scorched. But if you've been preparing yourself during the early stages when it was just warming up slowly, you're going to be able to stay in that boiling water longer. But everybody has their limit and threshold. So eventually, obviously, you're going to have to take a break if you need it. But as it pertains to myself, I could stay in the sun all day and I have no issues. And I get empowered from this. I get empowered literally from the sun. So I know this science without having to read these books, this science documents and papers. I don't even have to read this. I know this because I experienced it. So when I go into the books and they give me this terminology of photovoltaics, black body radiation, I know it already because I feel it. It's clear as day. When you put in a black shirt and you go outside in the summer heat, you're going to notice, you're going to feel hotter. If you put a white shirt on, you're going to feel cooler. So when I tell you that black absorbs all electromagnetic energy, that's what you're feeling. It translates into heat, something you could feel. When you go outside in a white shirt or the white light reflects, projects things away. So it's going to feel cooler in a white shirt. So when I say that black light is like a black hole absorbing all electromagnetic radiation, go test it out. Go put on black clothing when you're in the summer. You're going to feel hot. Go put on white clothing. You're going to feel cooler. Easy way to see this and feel this for yourself. Plainly. But as mentioned, Sway, I have no issues in the sun at all. So it's not a problem for me. You just have to take the advice that I've just told you. Change your lifestyle. Stop eating dead foods all the time. Dead foods is going to limit your ability in the sun. When you act like a vampire, you're going to get burnt. You got to eat more fresh living foods. You got to eat the foods. You got to eat light foods. Plants are light foods. It's not just light in weight to your stomach. It's light itself because plants are absorbing light all day, every day. It's absorbing electromagnetic energy from the earth all day, every day. Humans are not getting energy from the earth because they're wearing shoes, rubber on the feet all day. They don't connect with the earth that often. How many times you connect to the earth, walk barefoot? Only when you really go on the beach. Sometimes briefly in your backyard when you're stepping out. But most of the time you have slippers on. So you're not really connected to the earth getting that energy. That's why your resilience is low. That's why your tolerance is low. That's why your threshold is low in the sun. Because you're not connected to the earth. You're not connecting with the plants. You're not connecting with the sun. You're not staying hydrated enough. You're using alternative liquids. Sugar, liquids, and all these different things. Drinking alcohol. All those other things. You wonder why you can't handle the sun. You need shades. Too bright. Vampire. Only vampires do that. Zombies do that. Because you're eating dead bodies all the time. That's why you can't handle the sun. You run in from the sun, you get scorched from the sun because you're eating too much dead bodies. That's what vampires and zombies do. Eat fresh living foods. Leave dead bodies for survival situations only. You don't need to be eating dead body every day. Leave it alone. So let's get back on here. Cedric Jean Charles, what's poppin'? Where are we at? Okay, here it is. A black person with an understimulated pineal, or one that uses drugs or eats processed junk food. Foods will harm the pineal and have reproductive problems. The processed foods and drugs impact pineal. The pineal regulates insulin levels, the adrenal cortex, and the adrenal corticotropic, however how you pronounce that, adrenal corticotropic hormone, ACTH. So you should be taking notes, brothers and sisters, and looking at these things directly. At these subsections of your body parts, you should be looking this up. All these things you should be taking notes on and doing your own further research. ACTH, adrenal corticotropic hormone. ACTH is secreted by the pituitary and is essential for physical and mental growth and development. Remember what I told you already. I tell you all the time. Life is about growth and development. Why is life all about growth and development? Because it's all about building your light. If you don't get enough light in your body, how are you going to grow and develop? How are you going to grow and develop if you're not getting enough light? If you're struggling with light, how are you going to grow and develop and reach your highest kinetic potential in life if you can't even handle the light? Listen to reason, the real sun, rays from the sun, and listen to wisdom. You know what time it is. In other words, a black person's level of thinking, mental growth needed to solve their race problems cannot be achieved with a low amount of melanin caused by understimulated pineal. So just because you may have an appearance of dark, but however, the fact that you're not getting enough sunlight charging your melanin, it's almost like you don't have melanin at all, because melanin is dormant. So even though you have the illusion of being dark, you're considered pale because you're not charging your melanin. So what good is you being proud of melanin if you're not even using it, because you're not in the sun, you're not operating in a culture. In other words, a black person's level of thinking, mental growth needed to solve their race problems, cannot be achieved with a low amount of melanin caused by understimulated pineal. This goes for anybody in general. If you are unstimulated, if you're not stimulated and amplified with the information of light coming from the sun, your intelligence is going to be underdeveloped. Your physical growth is going to be underdeveloped. Your immune system is going to be underdeveloped. We're in a so-called pandemic, right? So how are you going to have a strong immune system to fight against viruses, diseases, sicknesses, illnesses, if you lack light that ignites and charges your body up? Answer the question. If you're putting shades on all the time, how are you going to protect yourself? The melanin secreted by the pineal aids the posterior pituitary's effect on the hormone oxytocin. Oxytocin stimulates uterine contraction during birth of a baby. Oxytocin is similar to morphine. It is one of the main hormones. Remember that hormones are instructions, information, intelligence. 2/3 of your hormones come from the sun. Let that sink in. Be marinated in that truth. Be marinated in those facts. Truth blazing, facts be manufactured in a factory. Oxytocin is similar to morphine. It is one of the main hormones that causes people to bond to each other. If you can't receive the light, how are you going to bond and connect with people thoroughly? How are you going to feel people? if you lack light. If you lack light, you're not getting the hormones, you're not getting the instructions, you're not getting the information. If you're getting artificial lights all day and every day like this, you're going to get fragmented pieces of information, incomplete information, chaotic information. That's why so many people are in a state of confusion, anxiety, nervousness. They don't feel good. They have to run to pharmaceutical drugs, or they have to run to plant drugs so they could feel relaxed, at ease, feel good, drinking to feel good, to let loose. Do children need to take drugs? Do children need to do any of that? Drink, smoke? They could enjoy themselves outdoors any time of the day. Why can't adults do that? Because they're not outside enough. Indoor culture is damaging their progression, their growth and development. They're running away from their child self. And that is why they suffer, and that's why they're aging in an accelerated way. So you better learn from your seeds. Learn from your offsprings and get back to basics. Get back to the source. The organic internet mainframe of Mighty Nature. Earth, wind, fire, water. Earth. Ground yourself, connect to the earth. Screw yourself in, bear. Go interface and connect with the plants. Have a relationship with the trees. Touch, bond. Get the free electrons coming from the earth. Get the information coming from the earth. Sun energy. Get the supreme intelligence. That's your hormones. That's 2/3 of your energies. That's 2/3 of your instructions that you're lacking. Water. In order for energy to move, and you need hydrogen. You need oxygen. That's the wind element as well, which is the most important element, because 2 to 5 minutes without air, oxygen, you die. Water, beyond a week to a month, depending on where you are in the world, depending on the temperature, you're going to die. You're lacking sunlight, your body's going to degrade. You're going to lose motivation. And if you lose motivation, your ability to move in life, you're going to die. You're going to stay still in stasis. You're not going to have no motive to do anything if you're not getting enough sunlight. You're not going to have no joy in life at all if you're not getting enough sunlight. You're not going to have no smarts and intelligence at all if you're not getting enough sunlight. Let that marinate. Let you be seasoned in the fire of truth. Listen to reason, real sun, rays from the sun, and listen to wisdom. So let's get through this part. The melanin secreted by the pineal aids the posterior pituitary's effect on the hormone oxytocin. Oxytocin stimulates uterine contraction during birth of a baby. Oxytocin is similar to morphine. It is one of the main hormones that causes people to bond to each other. Mother and child, man and woman, friends with friends. Black people with inadequate melanin levels will have problems with getting along together. Let that sink in. unity forming positive groups and will constantly destroy each other. Let that sink in. What's happening? They will lack the energy to sustain unity. Where does it stay here? United we stand stronger. Together we rise higher. Like, share the video. Subscribe and light up the bell notifications. Fire blaze it up. All notifications. You know what time it is. Black people with inadequate melanin levels will have problems getting along together. Unity, forming positive groups, and will constantly destroy each other. They will lack the energy to sustain unity because natural bodily made sugars regulated by melanin cannot be utilized. Let that sink in. Be marinated in that fire of truth. This actually applies to anybody. It's not just black people. But the focus is on black people because they're the melanin dominant ones on the planet. So they're going to be affected more than anybody else if they're lacking melanin. And you wonder why things are the way they are. All because you're not getting enough light. So they will lack energy to sustain unity because natural bodily made sugars regulated by melanin cannot be utilized. This is the result of inadequate insulin. The pancreas insulin hormone takes the natural sugars, not white sugar, etc., out of the blood and puts it into tissues. The melanin's inability to regulate insulin causes mood swings. So why are black folks so emotional? They can't control the temper. Irritability and low energy. This applies to everybody in general, but this affects obviously the melanated folks more than anybody else. The liver's ability to make bile is potentiated by melanin. The pineal's melanin hormones act on the liver, and if inadequate, this will decrease the gallbladder's digestive bile fluid secretion. This is why you got to be careful. Don't think just because you're dark-skinned, like this hematite on my arm. Don't think you may be this color because some people are this extreme. In parts of Africa, don't think you're this color. Don't be thinking that you have it all together. No. This may be deactivated because you're not operating and living right. You're not nourishing your melanin properly. So don't get caught up in the physical alone. Everything got to line up. Your internal melanin got to be functioning right. Your external melanin got to be functioning right. And it got to be nourishing that sun. You can't be running from the sun. The pineal's melanin hormones act on the liver, and if inadequate, this will decrease the gallbladder's digestive bile fluid secretion. This results in unstable energy and moods. The pineal stimulates the nervous system of the brain. Consequently, brain function is compromised and the type of thinking is needed to create ideas to solve emotional, mental, and spiritual problems is not sufficient. See, this is all a result of you not getting enough sunlight, enough nutrition in your body. All of this. The sun allows your body to create these hormones. All these hormones that they're talking about, pineal melanin hormones, gallbladder hormones, all of these things it's talking about is instructions from the sun. Hormone is just a scientific terminology that just simply means instructions or information, intelligence. So if you're not getting enough sunlight, you're not going to be able to have these instructions working in a complete way. The pineal gland's ability to secrete melanin is sunlight dependent. Let that sink in. So why are you inside is a question, especially during the northern hemisphere western when the sun is starting to get more dominant. In fact, it is, because the daylight is longer than the nighttime now. Why are you wasting your potential? Life is about growth and development. Why is life about growth and development? Because life is about building your light. Life is solidified, condensed light. Crystallized. Put exclamation marks on that. Crystallized sunlight. How are you building your light if you're not in the light? How are you building your life if you're not in the light? You ain't ready, brothers and sisters. Common sense, but a lot of you are not doing it.
What? Slow motion this side.
Hey Nathan, how do I decalcify my pineal gland? The pineal gland's ability to secrete melanin is sunlight dependent. So are you in the sun? Are you solar gazing? When you solar gaze, you're accelerating the process to decalcifying your pineal gland. Everybody's talking about this. You putting shades on your eyes, you're just keeping your pineal gland calcified and turned off, not fully functioning. You running from the sun, hiding in the shade like a vampire. You keep your own glands calcified. You'd be smart to put shades on when you're looking at these screens. That's when you put the shades on. When you're outside in natural sunlight, you take the damn shades, you crush it, you throw it in the garbage. You better get outside. But then when you get inside, you look at the screens, and I guess you repair your shades, get the glue, put it back together, put the shades back on when you're looking at these screens, because you're damaging your hormones when you're looking at these screens, because it has too much blue light intensity. It messes with your hormones. That's why a lot of you have a hard time sleeping. Melatonin is responsible for that. Circadian rhythm, nighttime hormone, allows your body to rejuvenate, revitalize, renew, regenerate itself. Melatonin. How do you get melatonin? You got to get more serotonin. Daylight sun. Serotonin gets converted in the evening cycle when the sun goes down. The more serotonin you have, the more melatonin will be converted into. Then you're going to be able to fall asleep easier. You're going to be more refreshed. You're going to have a deeper rest. When you're looking at artificial lights, you can't sleep, because these artificial, unorganized, that is not calibrated and tuned right to your body's living biochemistry, it's gonna put you on drugs, put you on stimulants. Why do you think everybody's on it? Almost everybody on it. They're taking some type of drug, stimulant, coffee. Lined up at Tim Hortons or some coffee shop, Starbucks. Lined up all the time, getting stimulated to spark energy in them. The sugar rush. That's like the legal version of cocaine, right? Sugar. You white all that sugar in your coffee, the caffeine, just for you to get a spark and ignition, for you to have some consciousness to get through the day. Why do you need that? Because you be looking at this too much. Put it down. Look at the sun instead, and get your body calibrated and tuned up properly. Put the video games down, get outside and get to the natural, organic, get to that mainframe. You play outside with your own body, your own character of your body. Instead of you playing some virtual artificial games, sitting and looking at the screen all day, you better get your ass outside and go play in nature. Get back to basics. Get outside and go play tag or something. Get on those monkey balls. Slow motion.
What is that?
Alright, let's continue. The pineal gland's ability to secrete melanin is sunlight dependent. Let that sink in. Repetition is the mother and father of learning and skills. So get the skills instilled in every cell. Neuron pathway, dendrite, synapses within your physiology, so it becomes second nature. Instinctively, intuitively. Listen to reason. Rays from the sun and listen to wisdom. The sun radiates full color spectrums of light. These screens do not emit full spectrum colors of light in the proper balance or color temperature your body needs. Blue light dominates these screens more than any other color, and that's the problem. There's no balance, there's no proper transition that is like the sun. That's why these screens are damaging when you're looking at them for a prolonged period of time. It damages your hormones. The sun radiates full color spectrum of light. Each of these lights frequencies in the color spectrum of the rainbow programs your body in a specific way. That is why when you look at these colors, you feel a certain way. Because each one of these colors produces a hormone in your body, allowing you to produce certain vitamins in your body, minerals. It's one of the main reasons to help your body produce these things. Full spectrum light striking the eyes, retina, nerve, stimulates the pineal gland to secrete melanin. Melanin turns into serotonin hormone and melatonin hormone. Black people that spend vast amounts of time indoors, indoor vampire zombie culture, and out of the sunlight, or are exposed to visual pollution of artificial light, sunglasses, television, reflected light of concrete, bricks, highways, and buildings, window glass, contact lenses, monitors, television screens, fluorescent lights, wireless cell phones, earphones, and cars tend to have mild depression, anxiety, I'm adding on, nervousness, sadness, lack of motivation. You're stuck on stimulants and drugs, all because you're not getting enough light. You're not connecting with the elements, earth, wind, fire, and water. You need earth, wind, fire, and water to build your spirit. The fifth element that makes up all of the elements. Spirit makes all the elements up. The fifth element. A polluted environment, public drinking water, noise pollution, negative moods, or social situations, acidic bodily conditions, lack of exercise, lack of exercise, lack of exercise, lack of exercise. So what are you going to be doing? You better be exercising. You better get your yoga in. You better be jogging. You better be running. You better be sprinting. Push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, dips. Get in tune with your body. Plyometrics, calisthenics. You know what time it is. Weightlifting. And he's still going on. Processed foods, synthetic drugs, computer decreases melanin production. Computers decreases melanin production. And the stimulation of the pineal. This visual pollution can result in mild depression because of the pineal gland is deprived of sunlight and exposed to negative stimulation. Let's take that from the top. Because I don't think you cats got this, man. You got to cut back on all these things and get it out of your life, because this is destroying your growth in life. Your development in life is because of this. The pineal gland's ability to secrete melanin is sunlight dependent. The sun radiates full color spectrums of light. Full spectrum light striking the eyes, retina. Nerve stimulates the pineal gland to secrete melanin. Melanin turns into serotonin hormone and melatonin hormone. Black people that spend vast amounts of time indoors, anybody in general, but black people are going to suffer more than anybody else in general. So black people that spend, or anybody that spends time, vast amounts of time indoors and out of sunlight, or exposed to the visual pollution of artificial light, sunglasses. Let me stop it right here for a moment. The reason why this is focusing on black people, because as we discussed in the previous ones, this is like the 4th teaching on melanin so far, and there's so many more to go. It's just going to keep going on and on, giving you more home-run information. So, I've already told you that melanin is an amplifier of good or bad things. And to make it simple, melanin is an amplifier. It's a magnifier. It's an enhancer of what you have within your consciousness or within your genes. If your genes are bad, melanin it can only bring you to a certain level depending on your genes. If you think stupidly, that's gonna be you're gonna operate at the highest level of stupidity. If you think intelligently, you're gonna think at the highest level of intelligence. Melanin is the amplifier of consciousness. It's an amplifier of abilities and disabilities. So if you're not nourishing your melanin, when you get sick and ill, it's going to become harsh for you, harsher than other people. When you're taking care of your body, you're going to get the tremendous benefits from you taking care of your body. When you don't take care of your body or you don't take care of your melanin, you're going to get the worst of the diseases when you get it. Because it's an amplifier. Remember, melanin absorbs all the energies in a spectrum. So if you're feeding your melanin all these junk things that I'm going to be mentioning again for you in repetition again for you, melanin is only going to be amplifying your conditions with these things. Whether it's good or bad. I'm keeping this basic and simple for the layman's person. So listen again. The pineal gland's ability to secrete melanin is sunlight dependent. The sun radiates full spectrum of light. Full spectrum light striking the eyes, retina, nerve stimulates the pineal gland to secrete melatonin more specifically. Melanin turns into serotonin hormone and melatonin hormone. Black people that spend vast amounts of time indoors and out of sunlight or exposed to visual pollution of artificial light, sunglasses, television, reflected light of concrete, bricks, highways and buildings, window glass, contact lens, monitors, television screens and fluorescent lights, wireless cell phones, earphones, and cars tend to have mild depression. A polluted environment, public drinking water, noise pollution, negative moods or social situations, acidic bodily conditions, lack of exercise, processed foods, synthetic drugs and computers decrease melanin production and the stimulation of the pineal. This visual pollution can result in mild depression, anxiety, nervousness, sadness, lack of motivation. I'm adding on. Because you got to get this right into your cell pathways so you can make a change in a positive direction. Because the pineal gland is deprived of sunlight and exposed to negative stimulation. Sheesh. Truth blazing, facts blazing, facts being manufactured in the factory. You know what time it is, my brothers and sisters.
What? Slow motion this side.
When children are deprived of sunlight, it can cause physical and emotional problems. Let that sink in. So why the heaven are you putting sunscreen on your children? Why are you reducing the light? You need to be calibrating and tuning their skin during this time, early spring. Build the melanin in your body externally and internally. Earth, wind, fire, water is essential to building your melanin. Connect with the organic it's in the mainframe of mighty nature. When children are deprived of sunlight, it can cause physical and emotional problems and their development issues, suppression in their development, physically and mentally. Children who spend many hours indoors, school buildings. This is why I always tell you, why are people learning indoors? Wrong way to learn. It's supposed to be outside. Part of your time should be outside learning, not indoors all the time. Part of the learning experience should be outside, especially in the sun. I'm not just talking about recess, playtime. That's not that. I'm talking about literal teaching should be outside. Children who spend many hours indoors, school buildings, playing video games, viewing television, and using artificial light are deprived of sunlight. And this is why they don't perform as well as they can. Or they underperform and lack the ability to perform and have all these issues mentally because they're not getting enough sun. All these conditions that they're told. He has ADHD, this, because they're not getting enough light. You can't be teaching children inside alone. You got to take them outside and learn as well. Oh, the kids are going to get distracted and look over. No. You got to make the teachings interesting. If the children are getting uninterested in your teaching, it's because you're not doing a good job of it. So don't be making excuses. Oh, we can't bring kids outside because they're going to be distracted from all these things. No, stop making excuses. You need to upgrade your teaching. If you can't keep the children's attention because you lack ability to teach, you need to learn to adapt your teaching methods. You need to teach your children by allowing them to be a scientist, learn about their environment. You want your children to perform, you better be taking them outside to teach sometimes, not just indoors all the time. That includes adults. It's not just the children, it's adults too. Adults indoors too much. You need to get your ass outside. College, university, you need to take the lessons outside too. Not just indoors, outside. Scores are going to rise. Energy, you're going to be getting that intelligence from the sun. You're going to be able to perform better. You're not going to need no damn coffee. Put that in the trash. You're not going to need no sneaking, no smoking. No, put that in the trash. You get the sunlight and you get empowered by supreme intelligence. Somebody like a vampire and a zombie. Put that in the trash and leave it alone. Sunlight deprivation results in an understimulated pineal, causing a child to grow up and become an adult with decreased reproductive function, decreases gonad weight. In adult animals that have no reproductive organ, gonad, due to castration, the pineal gets small and the pituitary gets large. Sunlight deprivation decreases the stimulation of the pineal, almost similar to the castration state condition, which causes one to conclude that the same effect happens with people, pineal shrinks and pituitary enlargement. The understimulated pineal inhibits the reproductive organs, the gonads. Response to the gonadotrophins. This causes a decreased weight of the ovaries and testicles. The pineal gland increases sperm production and helps with female fertility. You wonder why you have issues with your reproductive parts? Because they're not getting enough sunlight. You're running to get Viagra because you don't need no Viagra. You need to get that sun to get that Viagra up. Slow motion.
Yeah.
The pineal gland increases sperm production and helps with female fertility. That's if you're getting enough sunlight, especially when it's directly getting connected to those parts. Your whole body needs sunlight. Your whole body needs sunlight. If you want your organs, your glands, your cells to function properly, you got to get sunlight. If you're having issues with your digestive system, you're having a hard time taking food in because your stomach is not getting enough sunlight. You're not getting the sunrise light. You're not getting the daylight, the peak hours, and you're not getting the evening light on your stomach. Once you start consistently getting light on that stomach and that digestive area, it's going to start functioning better and working better. When your brain starts getting more light, it's going to function and work better. That applies anywhere in your body. When it gets full spectrum sunlight, when you're connected to the earth, when you're staying hydrated, you're breathing in deep from your stomach, the base of your spine, your diaphragm. All these things are going to function at its highest pinpoint peak pinnacle of its kinetic potential. Listen to reason and listen to wisdom. Okay, good. Let me finish this last few paragraphs. I'm going to put this lab lace to a close and we're going to continue part 5 on another day. Happy we're almost done this. I thought I was spending too much time expounding, but it's good. It's just a few paragraphs. So let me get this. Also, pineal... hold on, let me go back here. Where are we at? So I'm going to focus on here. Remind you again. Sunlight deprivation decreases the stimulation of pineal, also similar to a castration state condition, which causes one to conclude that the same effect happens with people. Pineal shrinks and pituitary enlargement. The understimulated pineal, so in other words, inflammation. When your organs or your glands are imbalanced, one's going to shrink, one's going to enlarge in inflammation. That's out of balance. That's why you're going to have issues mentally. Your hormones are going to be thrown out of whack and not function right, all because you're not getting enough sunlight. The understimulated pineal inhibits the reproductive organs, the gonads, response to gonadotrophins, this causes a decreased weight of ovaries and testicles. The pineal gland increases sperm production and helps with female fertility. The pineal gland decreases progesterone hormone made by the corpus luteum. Also, the pineal's melanin secretion help produce melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone that synchronizes the rhythmicity of the body. The rhythmicity of the body. It helps to control the circadian rhythm, as I mentioned before. Your serotonin, melatonin. Serotonin, daylight hormone. Melatonin, nighttime, evening hormone of your circadian rhythm. The body has a circadian rhythm cycle for digesting food. Food ideally should be eaten from 12 noon to 7 p.m. Did you hear that? So the best time to be consuming food is the round hour of noon to 7 p.m. The latest. Metabolized in the blood from 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. And from 4 a.m. to noon, the body is cleansing. I gotta rewind this because it needs to be clear. No more tripping over the word. Let's get this right. Melatonin is the hormone that synchronizes the rhythmicity of the body. It helps to control the circadian rhythm. The body has a circadian cycle rhythm for digesting food. Food ideally should be eaten from 12 noon to 7 p.m. Noon is the peak of the sun, approximately. The peak of the sun is going to be anywhere from, it's going to vary depending on the season you're in. Anywhere from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. is where the peak may be around there sometime. But usually it's 12 noon, especially during when we get to the warmer temperatures and heat in the summer. So food ideally should be eaten 12 noon to 7 p.m., metabolized into the blood from 7 p.m. to 4 a.m., and from 4 a.m. to noon, the body is cleansing. The pineal gland secretion of melanin converts into serotonin, then melatonin, as I mentioned before. These hormones need darkness and sunlight to stabilize the rhythm of the body. Remember what I said before, you can never receive the truth in your body, if you're not receiving what? These three elements right here. Three things that cannot long be hidden. The sun, the moon, the truth. So we've been talking about the sun. But you have to remember, you need the complement of the sun, which is what? Evening darkness, which is the nighttime. So you need the sun and you need the moon. So you gotta be what? Nighttime bathing, evening bathing, moon gazing, bathing in darkness. What do Shaolin monks do? What do martial artists do when they want to upgrade their willpower, when they want to elevate and ascend? They go into the cave of darkness, pitch black. And sometimes it goes so deep in the cave where you lose all your senses. All you see is blackness. You don't see nothing. You hear nothing. You almost feel nothing. Everything's just black. When you come out superhuman. So you have to take the light energies, and you have to take all that light energy that you've gained during the day, then go into darkness and meditate. Take all the energy and absorb all the energy, and allow your body to what? Balance it out, organize it, regulate, to bring the body back into harmony, tranquility, peace. When it's nighttime outside, when there's no lights, the body's at ease. Listen to reason, listen to wisdom. So you got to be sunbathing during the day, sunbathing during the night. 3 things that cannot long be hidden. In order for you to receive the truth in all things, you must be bathing in the sun during the day, bathing in the moon during the night, so you could receive the truth. Light is synonymous with knowledge, information, instructions, intelligence. And how do you do it? How do you assimilate and digest the light? You have to bring your body back into unity, consciousness. The darkness allows you to bring the information into your unity. Because when you're in the black, that is the embodiment of unity. Hey Nathan, what are you talking about? Blackness is an embodiment of all color spectrums. When you bring all the colors together, it makes black. That's unity. When white comes into the picture, that's when all the colors are separated and projected away. That's chaos. That's division, competition, differentiation, individuality, ego. When everything goes back to the oneness, that's the blackness. That's the supreme state of God, is the blackness. All things come out of the blackness. So let's conclude this. These hormones need darkness. These hormones need darkness. These hormones need darkness. These hormones need darkness as well. And sunlight to stabilize the rhythm of the body. These hormones need darkness and sunlight to stabilize the rhythm of the body.
What? Slow motion this side.
These hormones need darkness and sunlight to stabilize the rhythm of the body. Let be marinated in the knowledge. Let be seasoned, be spiced up in the knowledge of the fire of truth. The sun, the moon, the truth. Sunlight deprivation destabilizes the circadian rhythm, causing seasonal affective disorder. SAD. That's what SAD is. You wonder why you're sad? Seasonal affective disorder. Sheesh. Sheesh. Seasonal affective disorder is SAD. This is associated with abnormal melatonin activity. SAD depression symptoms can be relieved with daily exposure to sunlight and to full spectrum artificial light bulbs as a supplement emphasized. So if you're going to be using artificial bulbs, you better be getting full spectrum bulbs. You better be getting UVB bulbs. You better be getting black bulbs. You better be getting red light bulbs, color spectrum bulbs. You better be getting the color temperature to supplement. It's only meant to be a supplementation. But ultimately, you got to be getting the true light from the sun and the true ultimate unified light of the darkness. Listen to reason in the night. SAD depression symptoms can be relieved with daily exposure to sunlight and to full spectrum artificial light bulbs, and the use of melatonin supplement. Melatonin supplements, along with optimum nutrition, adequate darkness, and sunlight, are vital. So I'm going to focus here. Optimal nutrition, adequate darkness, and sunlight are vital. And when you have when you have issues with getting proper amount of sunlight and darkness, then you can supplement with melatonin. But you want to avoid supplementation if you don't need. Why don't you get your ass outside in the dark? Get your ass outside during the day. Stop making excuses. Make time for your health. Your health is all you got. Melanin release is stimulated by neuroadrenaline, norepinephrine, the low blood sugar, hypoglycemia, darkness of dopamine. The addition of melatonin supplement helps dopamine to calm the emotions and body, helps tryptophan to make serotonin, as we discussed in the previous ones. The pre-status of tryptophan, or should I say the pre-status of serotonin is tryptophan. That's one of the aromatic amino acids, the chief amino acids. Amino acids has a special property of capturing light, sound, electromagnetism in general. Phenylalanine, tyrosine, emphasis of the tyrosine, tryptophan. Those all create your major hormones that your body needs. In this case, as it pertains to your circadian rhythm, tryptophan is used for your circadian rhythm when it pertains to the light processing of the circadian rhythm of daylight and nighttime. Tyrosine builds the melanin production in your body. Phenylalanine is like in between, filling in the instructions that the two don't cover. So you need those three aromatic amino acids, chief amino acids, to build your melanin up. And we know phosphorus too. Phosphorus is a major contributor to that because ATP, adenosine triphosphate. The power plant of your cell is called mitochondria. It processes what? Triple phosphorus. Phosphorus, as you learned previously, as we showed you, the etymology means the light bringer, the light bearer. Illuminati, right? The light bearer. Phosphorus is another way of saying it. What's in your light bulbs? Phosphorus. And that's what your cells use to power your body. Your body's powered by light. And your body uses what? Photovoltaism. Black body radiation. Photovoltaism. Converting light into electromagnetism. And electromagnetism back into light. Black body radiation is your body's ability to absorb the dynamic electromagnetic frequencies of light, converting it and transmuting those energies into different forms of what? Light, sound, electricity, magnetism, thermal heat. So let's finish this last paragraph here. Melatonin supplements along with optimal nutrition, adequate darkness are vital. Melatonin release is stimulated by neuroadrenaline, norepinephrine, low blood sugar, hypoglycemia, darkness, and dopamine. The addition of melatonin supplements helps dopamine to calm the emotions, and the body helps tryptophan to make serotonin. Helps stop antibodies produced by corticosteroid corticosteroids decreases the growth of certain types of cancers, causes sedation and sleep, and decreases the growth of tumors. Melatonin is dependent upon melanin, and melanin is dependent upon the pineal gland, and I'll add in the pituitary gland, because the pituitary gland, melanin stimulating hormone, allows the melanin to be produced in the different parts of the glands and the organs of your body in order for all these things to even function the way they function. So the pituitary gland and the pineal gland work together as complements in tandem. Melatonin is dependent upon melanin, and melanin is dependent upon the pineal gland. And healthy nutrition. Whole, unprocessed, unchemicalized foods is the master key to nourishing, sustaining, and building your melanin, as well as complementing that with sunlight as well, and nighttime as well. The daylight and the nightlight. Listen to reason. Listen to wisdom. That is a fire of truth, and nothing but the whole, living, unified truth, my brothers and sisters. You know what time it is. So let's briefly go through if there's any relevant questions here. So it's high time that you come from the bottom of the pyramid and rise to the capstone. A lot of you are sitting at the bottom in the dirt, and you're not getting enough. You're not getting the power of the light. You need to rise to the top, so you can get what? The sun, the moon, so you could receive the truth. You need the sun and the moon, so you get the truth. So you need the duality. Put the duality, the polarities together to get the truth. You can't have the truth if you don't have a complete cipher. Daylight is only half of the cipher. Nighttime is only half the cipher. They must come together so you can complete your cipher of life. When you have the complete cipher of life, that's the truth. Are you catching on? There's too many people fighting over partitions in the cipher of life. Everybody's fighting over a piece of a partition of knowledge in the cipher of life. No. You're supposed to be collecting the pieces of the puzzles around the world, putting it together to make a complete truth. But people are fighting over this piece. And then they're going to the opposite side. This piece. No. Together. It's all about what? United we stand stronger. Together we rise higher. You know what time it is. Sway says he lives an alkaline lifestyle. Then how come you're mentioning about sun issues? Sway, what's happening with that? You have issues in the sun? The sun is truly powerful. Every day the sun is out, shining, blazing the inorganic ones, and shooting chemicals directly at the sun at all corners at times to dim the light, create clouds. I'm just learning that SPF blocks vitamin D absorption, regardless if naturally sourced like zinc oxide as well. Yes, that's why you need to build your melanin. Have a natural production of melanin. You got to start in the spring. You're just bringing your health down by putting on sunscreen. Calibrate and tune your body during the spring. So you could be ready for the summer heat. Yes, it all starts within. You have to build your foundation first. Exactly. Your fundamental core must expand to your foundation. Build the foundation first. Work. The major work is done within your mind first. Your mind is every cell working together in unity. When you're learning to be alone, you're learning to be all one. If you don't know how to be alone, all one, how are you going to grow and develop? You have to learn to be alone, all one. Break it down. All your cells got to be one. You got to have your best self-interest at heart. That's alone, all one. If you self-sabotage yourself, that's chaos. That's divided, you fall. You got to be alone, all one. Joe Galo, it's poppin'. Joe Galo, you sunbathe everywhere, no matter where you are. Mr. Wang, what's poppin'? Do you fast, and how often do you fast? And what food or meal do you eat during the day? Yes, I fast. Of course, I fast every day. I don't usually eat anything until I get back home when I'm on a work day. I don't eat anything, just water, that's it. Then I usually have some fruits or salad, and sometimes may have a vegan meal. A lot of time, especially during this time of spring and summer, it's a lot of fruits during this time, a lot of liquids during this time. Winter time, it's a lot of what? A lot of soup, a lot of kind of the denser foods during the winter, but during this time, it's obviously, like I mentioned, during the spring when the light is increasing on the earth, you should be eating mostly fruits. Fruits and veggies. Fruits more than anything else right now. During this time, as the weather gets hotter and UV increases, this is the best time to eat fruits. Plant foods in general. Less dead bodies. When winter comes, if we're operating in a like we're living in a day and time that doesn't really matter anymore. But if you're operating as nature intended during the winter fall season, then obviously you would kind of have to eat your meats, right? But during this time, fruits and veggies more. But we live in we're living in an age that we could choose to maintain a certain way of life. But ideally, you want to follow a food pattern of the season. So you want to eat the foods that are in season. But generally, you want to be eating mostly fruits and veggies right now. Mostly fruits. Because there's more light, so you're going to need more instructions to process that light. And you get it from the fruits, you get it from the plant foods. When you're in the season of the falling away, autumn and winter, plant foods aren't as available, so you kind of have to be in a survival state during those times. That's when you have to rely on dead bodies to a certain extent. I call it what it is. Dead bodies. People like to hide behind meat. Well, it's a dead body. You want to be consuming foods that are high in light, because you have to build your light. Dead body have a diminished amount of light in it, because it's dead. It's going back to the source. It's decaying. It's rotting back to the source. You're here to build your light, not diminish your light. What's poppin', Homendo? Yeah, but those bulbs you mentioned uses too much electricity. It will make electric bill go higher. Of course it will, because it's using what? You're using a dynamic frequency of energy, so of course it's gonna use more energy. The reason why those bulbs, the modern bulbs use less power is because they're not using as much dynamic amount of light. They don't use full spectrum light. They only use a small portion of the light spectrum. That's why they're able to use less energy. They take the infrared, they take the red light frequency out of the bulbs. That produces that drains the most electricity. The heating element in the bulbs drains the most power. So they take that element out of the bulb, and only have a lesser frequency, color temperature in the bulbs. That's how they reduce the power consumption. But that actually is damaging to your health when you reduce the light spectrum and the color temperature. Yeah, you may save money or electricity, but what's more important? You're paying a bill or your health? Which is more important? Make your own decision. Otherwise, if you want to save it, you want to save money, Homendo, get your ass outside. Simple. Keep your lights off and get your ass outside. Why don't you get some candles? Light some candles. Isn't that candles a minimum cost? Instead of you turning on your lights in your house, why don't you get a candle? Get yourself a battery powered flashlight. Get that. A rechargeable flashlight. Use that. If you really want to save money, Homendo. Get back to the ancient ways. Get those candles. You need the natural fire energy. You need to be getting in tune with that fire. Earth, wind, fire, water. Get in tune with the natural element. Get that candles out and you better light that candle, man. Yes, Homento. Homendo making excuses, man. Andy, what's poppin'? What is good for stimulating the consciousness when it comes to the law of attraction? When it comes to the law of attractiveness? You mean the law of attraction? Simple. I've just told you this whole time. Meditate on the sun. Solar gaze on the sun. Get yourself to a natural environment. Clean up your cipher of people that is in your life. Get the ones that are not causing you to grow and develop. Get ones that push you to expand, to get better. That's how you expand your consciousness. Listen to motivational speakers. It's all about the people, places, and things. Get with people that motivate you to do better, that educate you. Places, the environment. Get yourself back to a better environment more natural environment where there's a lot of greenery around, a lot of plants around. Things eat better foods, deal with natural materials. That's how you expand your consciousness and produce your conductivity in your consciousness, which is a law of attraction. It's all about conductivity. Conductivity is the key to magnifying, amplifying attraction. Where are you getting your information, Andy says. How accurate is it? You check it as peer review. Andy, go look it up. Look it up yourself, Andy. If you want to know about melanin, look it up yourself. All the things I've mentioned through these 4 teachings, everything I've said, look up the main science terms. Go look it up for yourself. This is all scientific. Go look up everything I've taught in the videos. Take notes, you go look it up yourself. It's like I already gave the sources already. I gave you all this terminology in these lessons. You should have been already taking notes and go research and look for yourself. And like I mentioned, the most important thing is you actually go experience it for yourself. That's above anything. Nothing is higher than experience, Andy. You're so caught up in looking at the book. Where do you get peer reviewed? Don't worry about that. Why don't you go experience and go find out for yourself? Go actually live and do it yourself and see the benefits. Stop relying on what other people are saying. Go do it for yourself. That's where you get the information. That's where I get my information from. I go do it for myself. And then I go check it out in the books after to confirm what I already experienced. You get back to nature first. That's your source of information. Where do you think these guys got the information from? Andy. Studying nature. Experiencing, testing in nature. And then they wrote down their findings. Get your eyes out the book and go experience. And then you come back to the books and go confirm what you've just experienced. Go experience and feel it for yourself. Feeling is knowing. Experiencing it is knowing. When you read it from someone else, you don't know it. You're just reading information. But you don't know it because you haven't actually experienced it. Go feel it for yourself. Looking at someone's scientific paper doesn't mean squat until you experience it yourself. You could be reading facts all day, every day, getting peer reviews all day, every day. That means squat if you don't do it for yourself to find out to see if it works. Go do thyself. Stop worrying about peer review, scientific paper. I'm giving you the information with the science paper, but ultimately, go do it yourself. To really embody the information, you have to go do it yourself. It's like people get stuck in books too much. People don't realize, where did the book come from in the first place? They went to nature and they did their study and investigation. Experience. That's how they got the information to write the stuff in the book. Books are just not here. Books don't exist. Books were written by man. All books come within your cellular DNA matrix. It's getting ridiculous. People like this, oh, why did you get scientific? I'm not trying to belittle you, Andy. I'm just speaking to a general populace. People who want to, where do you get your information from? You get your information from nature. That's where you get it from. You think nature creates a physical book for you to read like this? No. You get your book by experiencing and you observing. That's how you have to write the physical book on the paper. Which you observed, what you felt, you got to write it down. Books are not just here. Books are got because they got information from nature. That's the very reason why I said, awaken your mind and get your behind back to the organic internet mainframe of Mighty Nature. We're on the artificial mainframe right now. We're in the artificial internet mainframe right now. A lot of people are using Google to get the information, using the search engine. The most popular search engine right now is Google. They're using Yahoo. They're using Ocean Stream to get information. But where do you think they got all this information? Nature! Julian Ando, so the more darker you are, the more vitality and health you have. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Yes and no. That's why I told you. Rewind, listen, take notes, do your own study, investigate. So the more darker you are, the more vitality and health you have. I don't understand that because I see black people who are sick with multiple health conditions and they're white completion people who. Julian Ando, the answer is very simple. Melanin is an amplifier of your condition. If you're in a poor condition, melanin is going to amplify that condition. If you're operating in ignorance, it's going to amplify that condition. If you're operating in health and intelligence, it's going to amplify that condition. So when you see black people in a condition, look at the environment they live in. If you see the environment is terrible, broken down, rotten and polluted, lacking, melanin only going to amplify that if you choose to remain in ignorance. Melanin is an amplifier of conditions, whether it's good or bad. So you weren't, I don't know if you came late, Julian Ando. Like I said, rewind, watch from the first, this is the fourth teaching on melanin. Go back to the beginning, listen, and come back here. Rewind, go back to the beginning, listen. Melanin is an amplifier of your condition, your consciousness. So if you have an ignorant consciousness, and you're not looking to grow and develop, you're just going to be magnified in that ignorance. If you're intelligent, you're looking to get more truth, you're just going to get more truth, more magnification of that. That's to keep it simple without having to break it down. If you're operating in a weak environment, an ignorant environment, a dirty environment, your condition is only going to be amplified because of your mental state and the way you think. So when you look at black folks in their condition and they're sick, ill, and diseased, some of them, look at their conditions. Look at the information that is around them. And magnify melanin is the amplifier. So if they're around supreme ignorance, they're around filth, the ghettos and the projects, they're around criminal behavior and drugs and guns moving, that's just going to be amplified because of the melanin. And the European Caucasians know this because all they do is study melanin. So they know how to alter conditions in the environment. Because why is it called a project? Because they're being experimented on. Things are being tested upon them. That's why in Western culture, everything black is looked at in a bad way, in a negative way, usually. Why do you think you're programmed in your consciousness? Every time you see black this, black that, you think evil. Who taught you that? That's mental programming. That's mental sorcery. So now you're seeing why black folks are acting the way they do. It's all a psychological game. Manipulation. Sorcery. They're using psychological sorcery against black folks. They're using their own power against them. They're using their own power against them. That's why you're seeing what you're seeing. And black folks don't even understand the melanin in general. Some do, very little of us do. Modernly, the ancient people knew, but obviously through all the conquering that was going on with the European conquest around the world, they destroyed a lot of the elders, a lot of the teachers, a lot of the masters that knew this information, and they fed the current ones with ignorance and misinformation and their doctrines with the information they wanted them to know about. So that's what you're seeing. Anyways, I'm putting this to a conclusion. We're going on 2 hours. That's the fire of truth. See this? Which pill? Fire of truth or the sea of deception? Choose. That's the fire of truth. And nothing but the whole, living, unified truth, my brothers and sisters. Awaken your mind. Master the elements. Al's mind. Al's mentality or God's mind. Master the elements. Life is your teacher. Learn. Life is your teacher. You see the cloud of my mind above me right here. Life is your teacher. Electricity, magnetism. Phallus, womb. Unk of life. You know what time it is. Awaken your mind and get your behind back to the organic intelligent mainframe of Almighty Nature, which is the unified field, the collective consciousness of the divine. The great vine, derived from the vine, in which you get your information, knowledge, wisdom, and intelligence from. Julian Ando, organic internet mainframe of modern nature. The great vine, connect to the vine to get the real information. All books come from the vine. Peace. Enjoy the rest of your evening or your day wherever you are in the world. Stay sitting at your seats. We're going to be going on to part 5, breaking down the science, continuing with the Dr. Layla African book as it pertains to melanin science. And then we're going to be moving on to other books. This series is going to be a long one, but you need to be educated in melanin. We got this ignorance on melanin got to stop. This ignorance on light spectrum got to stop. Oh, color doesn't matter. We're all the same. Stop it. Be educated in real information. Peace.
Yeah, check it. coming through. Fire bun, I'm an intellectual to the precise decimal of mathematical root radicals. So we see this, I mean this, the fire of truth. From the sheer might, the fire of truth. Preach, teach, the fire of truth.
We just levitate, levitate. Keep your head straight. Just levitate, levitate. Even if the world is so cold, we just levitate, levitate. Shed these lies.
Balance is key, foundation you see, harmony we see, nature we free, spirit we agree, preach and teach, the flock we reach, peace we feast, Ecclesiastics 3, Barak Shalom hour, inner peace power, reason in season, there's meaning in beacon and wisdom we season, peace to the most high, the most high, 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 peace to the most high, the most high.